Hola, minasan! Welcome back for another round of One Piece. The I went through a very traumatic and annoyed feeling of frustration watching Sir Crocodile pull a Doctor Evil on Luffy and the crew because he had them imprisoned. He could kill them instantly, feed them to the gators, but instead he decided to just walk away and assume that it all worked out according to plan. Instead of heeding Seth Green's advice, Scott Evil's advice, and get a gun and shoot each and every one of them in the cage and end them. And in true fashion, Sanji and Chopper came to the rescue because Sir Crocodile doesn't have pictures of the two because the two of them don't know who he is, didn't know who he is or what he looked like, so they weren't targeted like the others were. So yeah, rescue done. Now we're gonna see what Sir Crocodile is gonna do while a war is about to begin. So yeah, let's not waste any time. Let's get reading. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda, Chapter 176, Rush. The banana gator hawked out a giant ball, following the meme that it picked up from that young blonde woman, and said Haktua. And Sanji screamed out, "There she blows!" as he went gag, and a big giant ball of flame came right towards him as it made a splooshing sound. The gators flipped upside down as Sanji saw the ball lay on the floor and cooled down in the water. "Is this the key?" he said as he kept his leg up like he crouching tiger, hidden dragon, and took a long smoke of his puff. Luffy and the crew were shocked as Nami screamed out, "Oh, it doesn't look like a key. What is that thing?" And that's when they heard a weird voice spoke inside. A wax, a ball, open." And number 3 punched his way out, fists up in the air. "Ta-da!" he screamed out. A water. It's a water. It's a miracle." And the crowd screams, "What?" Solo grimaced in sheer anger. "Hey, that's..." And Luffy pointed out, "It's 3, dude. 3. "Hey, it's Mr. 3, Phoebe said. "What were you doing inside that gator?" And Smoker took a puff of his 2 cigars. "A gasp," Mr. 3 said. "I'm alive," as he started splashing and gasping for air. "I thought I was a goner for sure. A crocodile thinks he got rid of me, but they underestimated me," he said as his wax powers gooped around his hands. "The moment this monster swallowed me, I used every last ounce of my power to form a wax ball. By sealing myself inside, I managed to survive, even though I was losing all of the oxygen. Thankfully, I didn't start up any fire. A brilliant move, I do say so myself," he said as he caressed his wax ball floating in the water. "But what's this? What's this? It's stuck into my wax ball. It's a key." And that's when he turned around and saw everyone in the cage. "Ah, you guys!" "Dude, it's the key. Get it." "What? This the key? Wait. Wait a second." He started looking around at the water and sloshed through the knee deep flooding. "If the room is filling up with the water, a steel cage, and the key, aha!" And he smiled with a grin. "I see what's going on here." "Okay!" Sanji screamed out with his fist curled. "Mr. 3, be a good boy and hand over the key." "Okay then, here you go." And he threw it high up in the air. "What the?" Sanji looked up, but then he kept his hands in his pocket and remained all cool as Mr. 3 threw his hand up at Sanji. "Ha ha ha! I don't know who you are, but you seem to be a good friend. If you want the key, you go to find it, and try not to get eaten in the process." "What a jerk," Solo said. "Dude, he sure catches on fast." "Ah, Sanji, without running out of time." Usopp stepped back and freaked out. However, Sanji's face scowled and a muscle bulged out of his vein. He almost tore his cigarette apart, but he kept his cool and took a long breath. Don't jerk me around! And Usopp screamed out, Wait, Sanji! Maybe he could use his wax powers to make a duplicate key. Usopp imagined Mr. 3 creating a key out of wax. And that's when they went silent. And that's when suddenly Mr. 3 opened the door with his wax power and opened the gate nice and quietly. He was covered in bruises with blood pouring out of his nose and his cheek as Sanji held onto his shoulder. Not bad, Candlehead. Thanks, huh? And he got kicked in the face by Sanji and flew all the way across the water, skipping like a stone in a lake until he smashed into the manga panel and flattened his face. He said, and he slid into the water underneath him. Hurry! There's no time! To which Usopp replied, The passageway they went must lead in the direction of Alabama. Even though they didn't go down the passageway, when in fact they went up the stairs and out the front door. But it's crawling with banana gators, Phoebe pointed out as they watched the banana gators snap all over the place. But unfortunately, Solo and Luffy took care of the job. Well, that takes care of that. Come on, dude. Aren't there any more? Hey, I'm not as strong when I'm wet. Luffy threw his fist in the air. Hey, I'm not as strong when I'm wet. Come on, Solo said. Aren't there any more? He said, shaking his sword. I couldn't even handle one of them. Vivi covered her face as Usopp consoled her. It's okay. Those two are not normal. They don't even know how to be afraid. And suddenly the glass cracked. And and Usopp screamed Usopp screamed out, Hey, the wall broke. Morons. You overdid it. Nami screamed out. The passageway is busted. Let's get out of here. And the glass wall collapsed and water rushed in, and everyone screamed, Ah! Smoker's like, Lost. Blah. Usopp hit his head on the rock. Ah! And the water laughed at them. Ooh. Outside, everybody got out, made it into out of the moat and emerged onto the platform. Sanji pulled Luffy out almost immediately. You alive, Luffy? He said as he started pushing into Luffy's inflated body and water spit out of his mouth like a geyser. Sheesh, people with devil fruit power sure have some rotten weaknesses. The Vivi... oh my gosh. Nami and Vivi helped Usopp up with his nose being pulled. While he was pulled by his nose, stretching his face out, oh gosh, to the point that it's ripping off. Usopp, get up! What do you think you're doing, Usopp? Help us out! And Smoker was helped out by Zolo, who was laid out because of the because of his smoke fruit. Ugh. Zolo said as Smoker coughed. Whoa, Smoker, dude! Why'd you save him, Zolo? It wasn't my decision. He would have been fine on his own. Yeah. Yeah. Cough. Smoker. Smoker said, "Forget it. Let's go and hurry." We lost a lot of time. Sanji said. Can we still make it, Nini? I don't know, she said as she squeezed the water out of her cloak. Nami, do you still have that perfume you bought in Nanahana? Yes, why? Put it on. Like this? Ah! Sanji collapsed over with hearts in his eyes. It's like falling in love and going to heaven. Yeah, Solo rolled his eyes. Then stay there. And suddenly, Smoker somehow managed to lit his wet cigar up. Immediately thrusted his sea rock sword, and Solo blocked almost immediately with his own sword. Oh no, Zolo, why did you save me? Smoker asked, and he thought to himself, so that's when Solo thought about what Luffy said. Solo dude, save him. To which he replied to Luffy's flashback, huh? He's the enemy, leave him. But if we leave him, he'll die, dude. He'll sink like an anchor. I know, but... And Solo snapped out of his flashback and pushed the sea stone sword to the side. You don't owe me anything, he said. It was Captain's orders. I'd have let you drown. And Smoker reflected on that thought, and he said, "Then, if you don't mind, if I do my duty now, huh?" See, I knew this would happen if you rescued him. Sanji said. Moments later, the guards were gathering around. Did you find the Straw Hats? Smoker asked, "Did you find the Straw Hats?" Yes, Captain Smoker's with them right now. Let's back him up. Gather the troops. Yes, sir. And Usopp and Luffy were ready. We're all fired up. Okay, let's make the Alabama fast as our legs can carry us. Dude, where's that crocodile? Luffy threw his fists up, ready to fight. Oh, they're up. Oh, Smokes. Dude, you still want to fight? Huh? Smoker was a little stunned at what was requested. Hey, it's Smoker. Don't do it, Luffy. Let's just run. Smoker thought to himself, is this kid for real? He let out a puff of his only cigar remaining. And Luffy raised his fist up and the wind laughed. Ooh. Smoker was very shocked at how fearless Luffy was in his eyes, especially the fire in his eyes. As the guard screamed, "This way, hurry!" Smoker lowered his head, closed his eyes, took a long puff of his smoke. Go. What, dude? Just this once, I'll let you get away. And the wind gently breezed by, not laughing at anybody. But next time we meet, Straw Hat, you're dead meat. Luffy was very quiet as the Marine screamed out, "There they are, the Straw Hat Pirates!" As everybody started sweating in fear, and Zolo laughed, ha ha, ha ha ha. And everyone ran off. The Navy's coming! Which way to Alabama? Sanji said. And Phoebe replied, that way, due east. Luffy, Zolo looked back. What are you doing? Come on. Okay, dude. Luffy saw his team already 10 steps ahead of him. And Luffy looked back at Smoker and smiled. You know, I kind of like you, dude. We'll get you this time. The guard screamed out. Luffy giggled, and Smoker immediately swung his sword. Get out of here. Yikes, dude. After them to get away, the Marines gave chase. Captain, one of them approached Smoker. Aren't you going after them? No, I'm too tired. What? Hey. Hey. Yes, sir. Recall our men. We'll catch up with those pirates later and contact HQ. Have every ship in the region set sail for Alabasta. You're calling for reinforcements, the guard said. But, sir, do you think the brass will do that just to catch a few lives of pirates? Do you think I care what the brass thinks? He gave a glaring stare with a shadow vein over his face and muscles bulging out of his forehead. No, sir! The Marine ran off. I'll get right on it, sir. Gotta hurry. Yes, this way. Chopper said. The smell of Nami's perfume is getting stronger. Hurry! The chase continued as Usopp screamed out, We're not gonna run all the way to Alabama, are we? Hey, where'd the eyelashes go? Zolo looked around. Dude, aren't there stables at Rain Base? Let's grab some horses. But the Navy's all around town, Vivi pointed out. Relax! Look up ahead! There they are! Hey! You guys! The chopper screamed down, waved as he sat on top of a giant walking crab with the biggest smirk this side of Moana. A crab? Ah, Chopper! It's a crab mover! Dude, that looks tasty. Who's ready for some crab? Hop on! Chopper screamed out as the speedy crab stopped in place and continued smiling. He continued giggling as Luffy threw his arm up into the air. We can ride that thing, dude. That's righteous. That's one awesome ride. Sanji smiled. But what's with the creepy leer? His eyelashes friends. Eyelash's friend. The camel, went with a little smirk and a sparkle in its eyes. This is Eyelash's hometown. He has lots of friends around here, but they're very strange. Excellent! Crab movers bury themselves in the sand, so they're rarely seen. This sure beats running. Solo put his hands on his pocket and on his hips, very impressed. Okay, everyone, let's go. Giddy up. The crabs laughed as he started crawling away at high speed, and everyone held on tight. But except for Vivi, she didn't held on tight enough, and she was like, "Huh, Vivi, dude! Ah! Stop it, Chopper!" Solo screamed out to the deer. Vivi, dude, it's him. Luffy jumped up and grabbed onto the hook as Sir Crocodile was able to pull Vivi and Luffy off of the crab. You jerk, dude. Luffy! Haha! That idiot! Sanji screamed out. Luffy! Nami screamed as Luffy yelled out, "Go on without me, dudes. I can handle this. He's mine." And the sand laughed at Sir Crocodile. Ooh. As now the giant crab mover makes its way eastward to Alabama, where the Civil War will begin. To be continued. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. Chapter 177. 30 million versus 81 million. Luffy flew high in the air, attached to the hook of Sir Crocodile. He screamed out, "Take care of Vivi, dude. Make sure she gets to Alabama." Luffy, be careful. There are two of them. Nami screamed out. Luffy! Vivi screamed as she watched in horror as he smiled and Zolo understood what was happening. Crazy kid. He's gonna make sure they stay where they're at and we could do our job. And he looked over at Chopper and screamed out, "Keep going, Chopper, to Alabama. We're getting time bought here." Gotcha. Zolo, you're abandoning Luffy? Luffy! Vivi was ready to jump off, but Nami grabbed her. It's okay, Vivi. It'll be alright. Crocodile's the one to worry about. Luffy's gone up against some pretty tough customers, and he's the one still standing. Listen, Vivi, Solo said, Luffy's going to keep Crocodile busy so that we can get away. The moment the rebels took off, the clock started counting down on this kingdom's fate. If the Royal Army and the rebels clash, Alabasta is finished, right?
Right.
So let's focus on that and let Luffy do his job. And and as Phoebe nodded, the crab continued crawling across the desert with the smirk on his face. I'm a crab. You're the only hope of preventing that, Zolo said, which means you have to survive. No matter what happens, Phoebe eyes lit open to the rest of us.
But
Meanwhile, everyone watched Luffy land on the desert and tumble around. Phoebe, this is something you started. She listened to Sanji. Several years ago, you left Alabasta to take on a shadowy group whose true nature you didn't know. His eyes scowled with great anger at everything that had transpired. But he walked past her as she sat on her knees. You're not fighting alone anymore. And Usopp screamed out, Vivi, don't worry, I'm with you. As she listened to everyone's words, as she watched Luffy's head stuck in the sand, watching on. Luffy, dude. And he looked out at the crab.
I'll be waiting for you in Alabama.
She screamed out. Okay, Phoebe, dude, he said with a smile on his face as he flipped his whole body up. Tried to flip his whole body up, but instead it just kept folding him over to the point where he began mooning Sir Crocodile, and the desert laughed at the warlord. Ooh.
Yeah, looks like Princess Phoebe got away.
Miss All Sunday said, "No matter. Our edge, it's a garden in Alabama. Get to them immediately." And now, he said with a shadow veiled over his eyes, and took a long puff of his cigar. Your tiredness comes to our hearts. Well, done mooning you, Luffy said as he sat up and started brushing off the sand from his legs. Phoebe's strength, dude, isn't in her muscles. It's in her heart. She's always trying to help others, because that's what princes do. Huh? See, she feels compassion, dude, for everybody. Like, she truly understands righteousness, so she never stops fighting. She doesn't want a single person to get killed in this rebellion, so I totally dig her. You know, it's like these sands. It's like time within these sands. You know what I'm saying, dude? That's what she's playing with, time. Unlike you. Ugh, no casualties. What the heck are you talking about? The sense of time. Anyway, like, no casualties. This world is full of peace-loving fools like her. Easy for someone who's never been in a real battle, don't you agree? That's right, dude. He, as he slowly got up, while the crab continued skittering across the sand. Yeah, I'm a crab. Luffy, in a cool JoJo pose, held his hat up and brushed more sand off of his cloak. But as long as you're still around, dude, she'll kill herself trying to stop you. So I'm gonna not let that happen and finish you off right here. Ah, how noble of you. But you're an incorrigible fool, boy. You'd give your life to help some stranger be befriended. I've deserted dozens of fools like you. Oh, well, isn't that unrighteous of you, dude? Luffy cracked his knuckles with a smile on his face. In that case, you're the fool. And Crocodile's vein bulged out of his cheek as he was shocked at at that reply.
Ha ha ha!
Miss All Sunday said, "Ugh, what are you laughing at, woman? You don't want to die too, Nico Robin."
If that's your wish, so be it. But you promised not to call me that by my name.
Where are you going?
Aunt Alabama. That woman's a miss.
Ugh, that woman's a mystery to me. Huh? Something popped up out of the sand. He looked down at it, as did Sir Crocodile. "Let's have at it. I'll give you 3 minutes, according to the sand glass that I created out of my own ass. But no more. Any complaints? Nah, dude. 3 minutes? Pfft. I've beaten fools like you in one. Fine by me. Gun gun! And Luffy stretched his arm back as Sir Crocodile braced himself for the first strike. Pistol! He ducked under an obvious attack as the arm stretched out to the sound of whine, and the wind laughed at the miss. And Sir Crocodile turned to dust and phased through the whole entire attack. And at high speed, he reformed right next to Luffy with his hook stretched out, with a sheen of the sun sparking in front of his eye, ready to hack his neck off. Grah! And Luffy bent back like Neo from the Matrix as the entire strike swung right over him. With the sound of a whoosh. Dude. Gum gum. Luffy wound up his next attack. Stamp! And threw his foot right into right at Sir Crocodile, but he turned into sand, making the leg fly right through an opening. Gah! And that's when he got slapped and pushed back by Sir Crocodile. Ugh, throw everything you got at me, strong, my heart. But you'll never gun, Gatling gun! Out of nowhere, he began JoJoing Sir Crocodile, but he turned into a sand in time as the Order passed through him, leaving a bunch of holes in his body. Darn sand monster, dude. Listens to the heart. Your mosquito-like attack can never. Bazooka! So Luffy threw two fists into him and stretched his leg far out to great pain. Grah! And he stretched it up into the air and screamed out, "Battle Axe!" and slammed it down into Crocodile's face, creating a plume of smoke of sand into the air. And it was all cleared out. Luffy then started stomping his foot on the sand, going, "Take that, dude, and that. You're all squashed now, you rotten sack of croc." And as he continued stomping into the sand over and over again, Sir Crocodile started rising up like the T-1000 out of the sand and formed his body. I told you. You're wasting your time, you creep. No matter how much you try, Rubberman, you'll never. And Luffy's punch came right at him. He immediately turned his face to sand to avoid the attack. What's that? You trying to say something, Croc, dude? And Sir Crocodile reformed his head with bulging veins, now testing his patience. To be continued. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. Chapter 178, Grand Line Level. The desert laughed at the entire town, and Luffy and Sir Crocodile's fight. Ooh. The sand has already reached its halfway point within the hourglass, slowly pouring into the bottom part. Playtime's over, Sir Crocodile said. Straw Hat. I wasn't playing, dude. Man, what am I supposed to do? It's possible to hit the jerk. He keeps turning around to sand, and he's getting all coarse and all over me. Dude, do I look like Anakin to you? I completely outclass you as a pirate. So stop with the weird references. And he swung his arm out, covered in sand. Desert Spada, he screamed out, and a whole wave of sand came right at Luffy. He saw the debris of the rocks split in half, and he realized what was about to happen. Whoa! Ho! You almost split me in half, dude. Good move. If you'd have met that head on, whoa, wouldn't have been half of it. The crocodile started smiling as Luffy saw a giant chasm formed underneath, right next to him. What the? Dude, you split the desert in two? What are you, Desert Moses or something? I've worked hard to develop my Bravo Fruit powers, he said as his fingers reformed from the sand. I can use them to make any weapon I want. Unlike some fools who are satisfied with their powders as they are, I continually condition myself and improve my skills. I am like a Dragon Ball fighter. You are but a mere My Hero Academia. and I'll make you ever regret you ever tangled with me and do weird references. Does it get us all? And he swung his arm out and created a gigantic bowl, a crater out of the sand, which caused which started pushing Luffy on down. What the dude? What no dude? What? He started running as fast as he can as the desert started swallowing everything up. The sand, it's sucking me in. What's down there, dude? Ugh, never heard of quicksand. It makes a convenient grave in the desert. The sand gets sucked down into underground water. It's as easy for me to detect its location. No one has a chance against me in a desert battle. He smiled as Luffy ran as fast as he could, fighting the density of the sand. Dude, I'm not gonna be buried like a pharaoh in the sand. He screamed out, and just as the holes laughed at Luffy, ooh, he screamed out, "You jerk, gum gum!" And he stretched his arms out, and he threw it right under his feet. Bazooka! And he launched himself into the air. And while he flew in the air, leaving a disappointed Sir Crocodile, Luffy intertwined all of his fingers into a net form. If punching doesn't work, you do, I'll just snare you. Gum gum, finger net. And he swung his fingers out and completely surrounded Sir Crocodile in a finger net. However, his desert attack just grabbed all the fingers and fling Luffy to the side. Ugh, don't you ever learn? It's futile. Gum gum! Luffy screamed out and swung his leg at him. Whip! Sir Crocodile split in half, avoiding the Luffy strike. Ah, same old, same old. Ag, dude. He felt himself yanked right back at Sir Crocodile. Crescent Cutlass! He screamed out as he swung his desert-formed arm into Luffy's right arm, and slammed him into the ground. Luffy landed with a thud as Sir Crocodile Jojo posed. Luffy screamed out, "My arm, dude! What happened to my arm?" And that's when he screamed, "Ah, dude, why does my arm look like a raisin? No, it's mummified. I'm the mummy. No, I got a mummy's arm." Yes, his whole entire arm was shriveled up and oh gosh, that's so freaky. Shriveled down all the way to the skeleton. This is one of the properties of the sand. It absorbed the moisture of your arm. And once it's absorbed all its body's moisture, you'll be just another shriveled monument in my powers. That is the way of the desert, boy. Huh? Why you? And that's when he opened his eyes and ran off. "I got it, dude," and started running. So Crocodile just watched on, very disappointed that Luffy just won't quit. He got the water and slurped some up, and his right arm puffed up into muscles with bulging veins in a steroid-like manner. "Yeah, dude, I'm Popeye." Ugh, ridiculous. No, it's not, dude. This water, that dried-up old man Yuba worked all night to get it. Take this with you, Luffy," he remembered Toto saying. "The old man told me, Yuba won't lose to the sand." Luffy's mouth opened wide as he screamed out, "Gwa!" and a fly entered his throat as he charged at Sir Crocodile. "Gum gum! Ugh, you still want to fight? Give it up, boy! Munch munch!" And he chomped into Sir Crocodile body. Wow, that's new. Dude. And Sir Crocodile pushed himself out of Luffy's mouth. "Ugh, enough of this nonsense, blah." You. As Luffy landed on the floor, coughing out all the sand that he gobbled up. Sir Crocodile was now tired and done with him. "Die, along with Yuba too, huh? It's been 3 minutes. That's what I told you in the beginning. Oh, sorry. Luffy was like, huh? Ugh, it's been 30 minutes, boy. That's what I told you in the beginning. Stop wasting my time. And he created a whirlwind of desert sand. Sables, he said, and it shot up into the air, a giant tornado, blinding Luffy as he covered his eyes. This set is just right. He closed. Sir Crocodile closed his eyes and basked in the purity of the sand. Back at Rain Base, everybody in the town saw the rising sand in the sky, forming a storm. There, today's a sandstorm. Take cover. We'll be buried by the sand. Wait, the wind is blowing towards the south. It should miss us. Tajiri saw and Smoker saw what was happening, and she pointed out at the disaster unfolding.
Captain Smoker, look!
And he watched on with vein bulging out of his forehead. Meanwhile, back on the crab mover, Usopp noticed the Vivi looking out in the distance as the crab continued laughing. I'm running through the sand because I'm a crab. I'm a sand crab.
Vivi, what's the matter? Look, there's a sandstorm headed for Rain Base.
She watched as the sandstorm laughed in the distance.
Ooh. It's him. I know it.
And all everyone could do was watch Han and Harazami quietly said her captain's name.
Luffy.
Inside the sandstorm, Luffy, with fists clutched, trying to figure out what he's trying to do as he listened on to Crocodile's monologue. Ugh, straw hot. The prevailing winds in this area always blow from north to south. Now, this sandstorm were to head south, growing stronger as it went. What would lie in its devastating path? To the south, dude? Yuba. He thought of the old man and what remained of the town. Why, dude? What are you doing? Just stop it. Luffy hurried over and grabbed Crocodile by the shoulder. You see, it's gradually going south. That dried up old man has nothing to do with this. You, stop. And Luffy ran for the sandstorm. Stop you, as he tried to force his way through the tornado. Stop, dude. And he got knocked out by the sandstorm strength. Ha ha ha. Sir Crocodile laughed. Give up, boy. You can't win. The sandstorm will keep gathering strength until it has cataclysmic power. You jerk, dude. You about as doomed. And Luffy immediately grabbed Sir Crocodile by the cloak. Stop it, dude. Right now. Just stop. And that's when he felt it. He lurched, slumped over as the hook was covered in Luffy's blood, and it dropped down onto the desert floor. Who do you think you're ordering it around, boy? You're a two-bit greenhorn. He lifted Luffy up high into the air with one hand. Should I have Luffy? Upstarts like you are a dime a dozen in the Grand Line. And the desert sand laughed at Luffy's hat. Ooh. To be continued. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda, chapter 179, Showdown at Alabama. Zolo gripped his sword tight as he went, oomph, oomph. That was when I said to him, you bow-legged freak. He said, oh, no, Usopp started giving his story as Zolo continued to lift his sword in pain. That was what I said to him, you bow-legged freak. As the crab crawled through the desert, laughing and smiling along. I'm a crab, desert crab. And then, you see, all the crabs in the world started to worry about being bow-legged. Wow, so that's why crabs walk sideways.
Ah, so stop that solo. You're wasting your strength.
Shut up, Solo said as he used the camel on on the scabbard on the sheet on his sword scabbard, lifting up like a weight. Usopp continued talking to Chopper about the crab.
And there was also one that jumped backwards. That was a shrimp.
Oh, is it some kind of a crab?
Yup, that's right.
Nami, ignore these guys. The Sanji said and took a long puff of his smoke.
They have to do something to ease the tension. They're incompetent, especially that muscle-bound fool who got clobbered by one of the 7 warlords of the sea.
You trying to say something? Zolo scowled as veins bulged out of his forehead. Say it to my face.
I'll say it. You're scared, Solo. You think Luffy might lose.
Me? He stood up, scared. No way, pretty brow boy.
Why you? Watch your mouth, you mustn't.
What? And suddenly they both found their faces flat on the ground with a pair of knots growing out from the back of their heads as they both screamed out, "You wanna fight? You wanna fight?" And Nami shivered her fist, her smoking hot fist.
Ugh, stop it, you idiots! Oh,
Usopp thought to himself.
Everyone's on edge. As second in command, I gotta do something.
But then Vivi got up and raised her hands up at everybody.
Don't worry, guys. Luffy isn't going to lose. We made a promise to each other.
She sweat began pouring down her face, and her eyes showed nervousness at the situation.
We're going to meet, we're all going to meet in Alabama, right? You're more worried than the worst of us!
Usopp screamed out, and Nami bopped Vivi on the head.
You're just worried about the rebellion. Ouch!
Sorry about that, Vivi! It's all over the day you stick up for me. Solo said. Okay. Alright, Solo. Nami smiled as the crab moved along the desert.
Okay, let's switch our thoughts to Alabama,
she said.
Let's go, Pincers.
My name is Pincers, yes. I have a name now.
Pincers? That's the crab's name. Pincers, did you just...
Meanwhile, at Yuba, the former rebel base camp, the water started filling up the hole that Toto made. See it? Look at it. Look at all of it. He saw the water bubbling, unaware of the storm coming in his direction. He reached his hands into the water and pulled it up, and watched as its coolness flowed through his fingers. Water, it's filling the hole. Didn't I tell you, Luffy? This is a strong land. And he began taking sips of the water, and he let out a nice smile. Uba is still alive. He smiled, unaware of the storm in his direction. Meanwhile, back at the battle zone, outside of Rain Base, Sir Crocodile held Luffy by the guts into the air, and he boasted to the Straw Hat Pirate, "Ach, Yuba would die. The sandstorm will destroy it. Then the rebels will grow even more enraged, and their misguided compassion will rip this kingdom apart. Same goes for you, Straw Hat." He began shaking Luffy around as his lifeless body bloodied and splurting out blood shook side to side. "You might have lived longer if not for your foolish compassion." And he saw the jug of water pouring over his hook. "Water? You'll no longer feel any gratitude for that, what? Huh?" And Luffy's hand clutched to his shoulder, his wrist. "Huh?" He struggled to get Luffy's hand off of him. Ugh! And that's when he felt the weakness. And he realized what happened. Dude. Huff. Luffy's zombie-like face spat some blood out. Ugh, you're still alive. Ugh. And he threw Luffy right at the edge of the crater and watched his near lifeless body tumble down to the bottom. Luffy coughed up blood upon impact, and blood splurted out of the opening. You ain't gonna pain now, but soon. Crocodile smiled. You don't feel anything. As Luffy's body slowly was swallowed up into the sand. Dude. Goodbye. Fool. Luffy's foot stretched out one last time and was consumed by the desert sand. What a waste of time, Sir Crocodile said as he walked away slowly as Luffy was buried into the sand. Tashigi, back in Alabama, Tashigi addressed Smoker. You want me to go to Alabama? She held her sword up as Smoker took another puff of his twin cigars. Am I to go after the Straw Hat Gang, or do you want me to assist the Royal Army? It's up to you. What? Decide for yourself what you want to do there, he said. He said to her. What's that supposed to mean? She couldn't believe it as Smoker hopped onto his motorbike and revved it up. Just follow your own sense of justice. I'll take full responsibility for what happens. Where are you going, Captain Smoker? Something urgent came up. I'm heading out to sea. We'll make sure we're in communication at all times. Tashigi. Yes, sir. She stood at attention and listened to what he said. Pay close attention to what becomes of this country. Should it fall or should it survive? Whenever events like these occur, history is about to be made. And he took 2 long puffs of his twin cigars. Tashigi struggled to make sense of what he was talking about as he rolled off into the desert landscape in his awesome rocking motorcycle. Sergeant, what are your orders? The Marine said. Oh, right. She pondered what he said, and she made her decision. We're after the pirate Straw Hat Gang, Luffy and his gang. I want all soldiers armed to the teeth. We're going to Alabama. And she held her sword up and lifted her eyeglasses, and everyone saluted. Yes, ma'am. Meanwhile, the rebel forces led by Koza approached Alabama on horseback and camelback, at high speed, creating plumes of sand all around them, with bulging veins and teeth gritted, and a focused, fiery set of anger in his eyes. Koza screamed out, "Just your word, Cobra. We will deliver Alabasta. We won't let you destroy it." And as the map showed, waiting them in Alabama are Chaka and the Royal Army forces, dumb enough to not look to speak and reason with Koza, but decide to engage in combat with the rebels. Mount the cannon at the south gate. More cannonballs! Chaka screamed out. Lord Chaka, the enemy is said to number well over 2 million. Shoulders, what do you think of His Majesty attacking Nanahana? I've served His Majesty for 10 years, sir, he replied to Chaka. That's right. How could anyone believe it? Something bad has befallen His Majesty. That's why we must win this battle. Don't let the enemy's numbers discourage you. For the sake of His Majesty and for Princess Phoebe, we must defend this kingdom with our lives. He crossed his arms with a loud booming voice. Everyone screamed out, "Chaka!" And inside the city, the royal guard, everyone was scattering all over the place.
All civilians have shipped back to the city. We cannot guarantee your safety if you may. Let's get out of here.
Oh, 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 oh. Did I give him Matt Damon's voice? Didn't I give Mr. Nine that voice? Let me see here. No, it's snobbish. Yeah. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. I'll find it. I got so many names here. So fun. Yeah, Mr. Four.
Matt Damon. Ha ha ha.
Yes. Miss Merry Christmas said, "Looks like all hell's finally breaking loose. Hurry up and start fighting already. I'm bored. He may be a king," she said as she had the king himself tied up behind them in rope, struggling to break free. "I'm getting tired of babysitting him. Tired.
Matt Damon. Ha ha ha."
The king replied, "Natural. Uh-oh. Did I lose his voice? Oh crap." Right. "Naturally sneaking past the palace guards to kidnap him." Oh, okay. Wait a second. I thought he was talking. Dang it! I thought he was talking. Dang it! Put the arrows in the right place. The king was laid out. Was actually laid out with his eyes closed and his nose bloodied up, and bludgeoned with sweat pouring down. "Naturally, sneaking past the palace guards to kidnap him was something only we could do. Yes," Miss Merry Christmas said. "But why do we have to be stuck with him now? Anybody could do this. It's so boring, right, Mr. Four?" "Yeah. Do you hear me? You always respond so slow. My back hurts. My back." And the king started thinking to himself as he continues to hear this weird conversation. "Chaka, Koza, you must not fight. You are also this country. You must not destroy each other." And the ropes that tied him up laughed at the king. "Ooh. Those who lament war," the king thought to himself as Toto continued enjoying the water that is pooling in the hole he created, and Koza charging with the rebels at his stead, and Chaka mustering the king's armies. "Those who must fight," he continued. "Those who incite war," the king continued as crocodiles smiled at the hole Luffy fell in, and Baroque works continued traveling through the area, and Miss Merry Christmas pointing at Mr. Four. "Those who, knowing the truth, want to stop it." As Vivi continued on with the laughing crab and Luffy's crew preparing for their next fight. "Their hopes," he continued thinking as Tashigi led the Marines towards the war zone, "are about to collide at Alabama." And it was there, within the middle of the desert, Baroque Works, Rebel Forces, the Royal Army, the Navy, the Straw Hat Gang are all converging at one single point as Smoker said, will be the turning tide of history. And as the wind laughed out loud, woo, the desert sand trap that Crocodile made had a little plume of sand pop up into the air. It was absolute silence. Everywhere there was nothing but silence. And there was Luffy, bloody, bludgeoned, nose pouring out of his nose and his mouth, his teeth gritted from frustration. He screamed out, "Me, dude!" To be continued. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda, Chapter 180, Alabasta Animal Land. The desert sand laughed at Luffy out loud as his head continued to stick out of the giant sand trap Crocodile made for him outside the city of Rainbays. Ooh. Luffy, taking long, deep breaths, struggled to break free from his prison. Huff, dude, huff. And he remembered what Crocodile said. Ugh, I outclassed you as a pirate. Luffy's eyes were as blank in the pupils as his strength, as he continued here, as Crocodile's words continued to echo in his mind. You'd but would die. Luffy started shuffling inside the sand, trying to break free from his natural prison. But then sand started to pour down onto him, and he realized that he was going to get pushed back. Oh, dude, not again. Gag. And he completely disappeared into the sand once more. And a foot appeared at the edge of the trap. And with one hand raised up, a bunch of arms pushed Luffy out from under as he gasped for air. Gasp, dude, gasp. His blood poured out of his mouth and his nose more as the pain from the stab, from Crocodile's stab, worked him over even more through pain. And the deserts laughed at Luffy's failure. Ooh. And there Miss All Sunday stood before Luffy as he covered his wound up, and he looked up at her. Thank you, dude.
What? Do you fight?
She asked.
That's one of those whose name is D.
D. Luffy was baffled by her saying that letter. She thought to herself,
just who are you people?
And she started to walk away. And she started walking away as her makeshift hand flicked Luffy's hat.
I guess it was a waste of time to ask.
And she caught the hat, and she she smiled.
Found you.
And she threw the hat right onto Luffy's body. Oh, Miss All Sunday looked in the opposite direction and found Pell approaching him.
Oh, so you've come.
What have you done with Princess Phoebe? I know that now that I know what your powers are, things will be different this time. He shuffled over in absolute pain. But she tipped her hat and smiled back.
Be careful. You'll hurt worse than you think. But it's just in time. Why don't you help that kid?
She started walking away from him, brushing him off.
Yes, after all, the swashbuckling pirate who brought your precious princess home.
And he struggled to do anything as he watched her approach a banana gator with what the heck? A saddled with a rockin' awesome saddle, almost oh my gosh, called him the Celigator, the second fastest animal in Alabasta. She looked back as she planted her foot on the step. She looked back.
Yes, your princess is alive. She's on her way to Alabama even as we speak. I don't know what'll happen to her now, though, considering the situation.
And she hopped on, and the Accelerator blasted off into the desert dunes ahead. Pels said as he struggled, "I'm no match for her. Can't protect Princess Phoebe." And he felt a tug on his shirt from Luffy. He looked to the side, and he heard the pirate scream out, "Meat, dude, beef, pork." Meanwhile, at Nanohana, oh my gosh, no way. Igaropoi screamed out, "The final rebellion. The final rebellion. And in the middle of Nanohana stood Igaropoi. "So, the final clash has begun. I saw that ship. Princess Phoebe and those pirates must have made it safely here. I'm sorry. Please let me be in time." Dang it, let people die and stay died. Dang shonens. Timer's running out, he said as the rebel forces were nearing the capital city of Alabama. Approximately 5 hours until the rebel forces reach Alabama. Meanwhile, Toto watches the sandstorm laugh at him as he stood before his water. "Not to worry," Toto said. "Once the sandstorms end, the rain will return like always." He smiled. "Do your worst, you blasted sandstorm. You'll never defeat Yuba." And it struck the whole town, what remained of it, directly. Meanwhile, Usopp screamed out,
"What? We can't cross the river with this crab."
with 4 hours to go. As Zolo continued counting his reps, 2060, 2061.
"Yeah,"
Phoebe said.
"Crab movers are creatures of the desert. They hate the water. They're basically the gum fruit for crustaceans." "But it's a crab. A crab, do something."
To which the crab replied, "I'm a crab and I do nothing but walk on desert."
That river's as wide as the sea. Will take us the rest of the day to swim across. And look, after the river, we'll have to cross miles and miles of desert.
Oh, is that Usopp? Yeah, that's Usopp. Usopp said,
"That river's as wide as the sea. Will take us the rest of the day to swim."
showing their current location, approaching the large Sandora River.
"And look, after the river, we'll have to cross miles and miles of desert. If this crab can't cross the river, what are we gonna do once we get to the other side? Run? We're not gonna make it."
And Sanji immediately pointed out at the river.
"Uh-oh! There's the Sandora River up ahead! Do something, pincers!"
Usopp screamed. "I've got it. Pincers like dancing girls," the chopper said. And Nami... whoo! And Nami took off her cloak, revealing her new outfit, and said,
"Will this do?"
"Yes," Chopper said with a sweat drop on his head. "He's looking." And indeed, Pincer's eyes turned and let out a leering smile. "Oh yes." Meanwhile, the eyelashes and Sanji screamed out, "Ah!" with hearts in their eyes, sparkling all around them. And yes, even Pincer's eyes turned to hearts. "He's picking it up speed," Chopper said as he held on to the reins.
"Nami!
Hubba hubba.
Nami!
Hubba hubba.
Ah, you two are useless.
It's the power of love.
The power of love. Can you feel it?"
To which you and Usopp And Usopp immediately screamed out,
"How is this going to help us, Chopper? We're moving fast!"
"Woo! Hey, this crab is amazing!" Sanji realized as he snapped out of his lovey-dovey moment, and Usopp threw his fist in the air.
"Unbelievable! Yeah! It's a miracle!"
And Pincers, with hearts in his eyes, given a nice reward from Nami, started running on top of the water like 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 Jesus.
"He's running on the water! It's a miracle!"
And he sunk into the water. Pincers sunk into the water as everyone screamed, "Ah!" And they found themselves floating as Pincers returned to the land, smiling away. "Thank you for the freebie, Nami." It's no use complaining. Come on, Solo said as he started carrying Chopper on his back, and the reindeer waved back with Pincers smiling again, waving goodbye, goodbye, Chopper. I'm a crab on the land. And Usopp, swimming along, said,
"Wait a minute. Isn't there a boat? How far is it to the opposite bank?"
"Oh, about 30 miles.
Vivi said,
"Well, he can't swim that far."
pointing to eyelashes. And suddenly a giant fish emerged, and and Usopp screamed,
"Oh!
A rare Sandoran catfish. It's really rare to see one.
Who cares about that?"
And its favorite food is man."
"Then tell us that first!"
Usopp started swimming with everyone along at high speed when a loud clank, a loud clank echoed in the sky, and everyone looked around and saw someone pouncing on top of the fish.
"Huh?"
They couldn't believe what they were seeing as Usopp went,
"Oh! Oh!
"Arf!"
The Kung Fu Gods!"
The Jugans were fist bumping each other as they celebrated their victory, defeating the giant fish. and Chopper translated for everybody. They're saying they couldn't let anything happen to their master's disciples.
"Huh? We're not Luffy's disciples."
Arf, 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 arf. All the same, their gods and. And with the help of Alabaster's wildlife, the crew managed to cross the Sandor River within time, and resumed their dash for Alabama. With 3 hours remaining, they made landfall and waved at the Kung Fu Jugans.
"Thank you."
Vivi waved with a smile, and Solo looked out to everybody. "All right, we're making good progress. Will we be there in time?"
"Well, it's going to be close. I'm not even sure even eyelashes can get us there, especially since only one of us can sit on it."
"Yeah, actually, two. Two of us can ride him. Anyway, and we can still get ambushed by Baroque Works."
"Oh, isn't there any way we could get there together?" "What? Over there?"
Nami pointed out.
"What is it? The enemy? They're here already? They're striking?"
"No, that's
And it's
Cairo!"
Quack. The squadron leader, Karu, Supersonic Duck Squadron, at their service, from Alabaster Kingdom Swift Unit.
"And he's brought the Supersonic Duck Squadron with him."
What a coincidence that every single wildlife figured out where everyone was at this moment, at this point, at this time, and showed the power of uncanny coincidence. With 1 hour to go before the clash at Alabana's castle, the king continued sitting all tied up along the solid stone wall as the ropes continued to laugh at him. Ooh. And at the west gate, Baroque Works was all gathered, ready to make their move. Number two, Mr. Tues spoke. "Here's the situation. Where do we set up an ambush? The enemy is a band of pirates who have already eliminated 6 of our top agents." To which Miss Merry Christmas says, That's right. And Miss Vivi was once a Baroque Works agent herself. And stop spinning, you swan. Matt Damon, ho ho ho. Mr. 4 laughed at Mr. 3. But when it comes to deception, I'm second to none. He put his arms up with a smile and started pirouetting as Miss Miss Golden Week spoke.
But Mr. and I could get rid of them once and for all. What do you say?
Maybe. I got integrity, though. Oh, that you two. Miss Merry Christmas said, you can't be serious. We're the ones for this job. Right, Mr. 4? Matt, you're too slow. Yeah. Oh, my back. We'll go first. And they ripped Princess Vivi's photo in half. Anyway, and the most important thing is get rid of Princess, right? Yeah. Don't call me Betty. To be continued. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. Well, now, we finally got some pacing going on here. And yeah, we got past the whole idiot ball situation, but I'm just glad that we finally got to see Sir Crocodile in action and really get a good fight going on here. You know, because it was pretty annoying. We got a quick flashback, you know, starting off in chapter 176 Rush. You know, we found out how Mr. 3 survived and got out. And I say that's fair enough. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes shonen gets a little too dumb with people surviving. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of shonen where, you know, characters it's supposed to get killed up, but then they survive when they should be dead. I'm looking at you, Fairy Tail. But at least here, I could say this is fair enough regarding Mr. 3 and how he survived. Because he did use his wax powers to form a ball around him. And yeah, he did gasp. Although I forgot that he's in the water. So he's losing his power. I completely forgot about that. But it was pretty funny, you know, seeing what happened here. But yeah, it does make sense that he would use his powers to survive. He wouldn't be taken out that easily. So that's pretty hilarious. It makes sense. So sure, okay, you know what I'm saying? That's fair enough that he would survive. I just don't know how Igara's Poi survived. Because that was just freaking blatant. I mean, yeah, you could say he jumped out in time, but don't fake death. I really hate shonen does that, faking death. You know what I'm saying? Don't fake death. If you're gonna kill, just kill. You know?
This is a red alert. We are being raided. All hands to battle stations. All personnel arm up and cancel the circus.
We have been raided. Thanks for the raid, Clockwork Ghosty. Dance away. Welcome, everybody. Doing the review right now. Pointing out how annoying it is that shonen works tend to like to fake death, like Fairy Tail. And as I was pointing out, we find out that Mr. 3 survived. Welcome, Silver Kitsune. Survived by turning into by forming a wax ball, and I say, okay, that makes perfect sense. Still trying to figure out how the other one survived, because he makes a comeback. But yeah, Sanji in what would be quite possibly a great joke here. Great joke. It's like, oh, we don't have the key, so we'll just use Mr. 3 to duplicate it. And sure enough, they just immediately supercut to this. We didn't even get a fight or anything. That was a great joke. That's very well executed, Oda-san. I hope to see that in live action. Very well done with the panels over here, up here at the top. Just kept it nice and quiet with one big, none of the characters said, just one big sound effect. The key clicking and the gate opening. perfect. It's really cool. Little chaotic here with the artwork over here on the left, but it's fine. Everybody escaped. They went through the water, got out. But we had a nice little moment with Smoker and the pirate crew. Saying like he's still doing his job, yes. Saying, I mean, his job is to arrest pirates, but he sees the but what's great about Smoker, and I'm liking him, and I like him. I wouldn't say he's one of my top favorites, but I definitely like him as a character. He sees the totality of the situation, and he sees what Luffy and the crew are capable of doing and what they really can do. And he came to the understanding that they're not the immediate threat right now. They are not the immediate threat. So it's like, just get out of here, do what you're going to do, because he knows the truth. He knows the whole truth, and this is good writing. You know what I'm saying? When you have a character that knows the truth, saying it's very stupid to have them continue saying, I'm going to arrest you. I'm still going to arrest you. No, there's a bigger problem here, because one of the warlords is out of their freaking minds. and he's got, and it's his job to stop the warlords. You know what I'm saying? I would probably assume, because it's not very clear in terms of the world rules, but I would safely assume that if any of the 7 warlords go south, then the Marines would have to make that priority number 1 over someone like Luffy, because you don't want them with those crazy powers they got to really wreck the world or conquer the world or something. So this was a very well executed characterization of Smoker. He still knows his duty, but he knows where his priorities lie, and that's good. My only issue is, however, is that Smoker apparently didn't explain to Tashigi what the heck is really going on here, or the guards, which really pisses me off. You gotta let the characters explain and get a handle of the situations here. It's saying, you can't have them walking around with the idiot ball. Also, funny crab. I like that. The greeny crab. I love the land crab. It's so funny. The creatures of this world are so inventive. Whether it's from being silly to outright scary, Oda really knows how to capture them, both in scale and size. Just look at the scaling. I love the scaling here. It's really that big. And the fact that it's always smirking. Got to lean into that very hard. Really, really hard there. But, it helped him cross the desert while, of course, Crocodile catches... at first he was catching Vivi, but Luffy was able to prevent that, push her off, and took over. And, of course, is fighting Sir Crocodile. As Solo said, Luffy is going to hold him off while everybody makes their way. Which what happens in 30 million versus 80 million, I believe. After he reasoned, here we go. We get Luffy mooning Sir Crocodile. A nice little setup between the two. Got their little monologue going on and everything. And then they proceed with setting up the fight here. Yeah, I mean, very nice. I guess you could say cinematography. I don't know if that's the appropriate thing, but good use of the draw distances between the two of them, giving that nice little setup. Saying this shot and then reverse the other shot from Crocodile's point of view. It's really gives the showdown a nice little dynamic going on in there. Very nicely done. And then we get this nice epic set of fight sequences. Like this is so clean, He throws in the pistol. We get to see Sir Crocodile dodge and then turn, and then the next panel just turns into sand, and we see him pop up on Luffy on the next panel. But we get like the whole entire sequence of all their movements and motions is so well defined. Nothing is lost. Nothing is sacrificed. Everything just really gives you the feeling that everything of what's happening on there. Of course, good old JoJo's Ora Ora, just like the Eternal Circus. Very fun whenever the characters do Star Platinum's Ora attack. You can't go wrong with that. But yeah, it was a great sequence of fighting and everything, and it continued that on into chapter 178, which we end up seeing that Luffy loses because now Sir Crocodile does his moves, and my man splits the earth. Just look how crazy this is. Like his whole attack here just flies right through, and look at that, just leaves a big gap. I'm surprised that the sand isn't pouring into it, and that just shows how powerful the sand fruit is as he continues attacking. And I gotta say, that's way too defined for sand here. Split sand on the sides. Like, you want to talk about going hard in the panel? This was it here. Look at that, trying to show every little pebble of sand on there. And like and just to point out, in terms of sand movement, Oda and his team has done a great job really defining the sand with the graininess and everything. Could have easily phoned it in, but really went hard on making that sand grain here over on this panel on the lower left, including the big gap, even in his fingers. Very well done. It really gives it that nice sheen, realistic feel to it, realistic look. But yeah, he eventually got Luffy into a sand trap, but yeah, that didn't work out. Why, I don't know, but let me tell you something. Luffy's learning. I think he's learning from other devil fruit users that he's come across, because that's what's his name's freaking attack there. What was his name again? Broggy? No, not Broggy. Sorry. It was Wapple. That's Wapple's attack. And Luffy is scary because he's been adapting, because this is not the first time. He's been adapting other people's attacks and using them. And let me tell you something. He really looks like Wapple. And he calls it the Munch Munch. He calls it Gum Gum Munch Munch. That is Wapple's attack. Luffy really knows how to adapt, and that's really scary. That's very scary. You know what I'm saying? He's like Rogue. X-Men's Rogue, just steals other powers. But, you know, Sir Crocodile sends off a sandstorm, which heads off to Yuba, which is very sad because, in the next chapter, we get to see that success, Toto succeeded. Let's see, where is it at? Yeah, poor Toto succeeded. Over here, you know what I'm saying, that like the water is really really pulling up. He knew it and he succeeded, and he's watching it and he's enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? After seeing all that, it's so sad that, you know, the sandstorm is coming to destroy everything. The cruelty of Sir Crocodile. He needs to make sure everything is wiped out clean. But, you know, look at that happy face. Tell me you don't want to hug him. Tell me you don't want to hug this old man. Happy to have water for once, you know. Oh, by the way, Sir Crocodile got Luffy by the nuts here. He shanked the Straw Hat Pirate and shakes him around a bit because he wants him to die. Of course, we get to see, interestingly enough, that even a little bit of water messes up, can mess you up. Since he turns his arm into sand and such, it's kind of screwing him up and everything, and made him a little weak on the weak side. And that's very interesting in terms of world rules here. That even water on a portion of your body can weaken you. We've seen that happen with Luffy, of course, when he touched the sea stone, the sea iron, in the cage that was set up. But to see that even that amount of water can weaken even Sir Crocodile just shows how much of a drawback water is for devil fruit users. Like, it's very, very big drawback. And really, I think that that's one of the greatest weaknesses you could give for something like that. For something like that's all about sailing. Just eat a gum fruit and you could die in the water or something. Like, geez, that's crazy. But yeah, he succeeded in getting Luffy down into the whole thing. Meanwhile, the Marines, I'm still a little baffled here. This is what I wanted to get to. Why Smoker didn't explain to Tashigi the whole entire situation. Okay, it drives me nuts when you don't cover all dot your I's and cross your T's. He should have told Tashigi what the whole. Did he even explain to her? I mean, he's saying that the choice is up to her, but I mean, it looks like he did explain to her, but I don't understand why he's giving her a choice. The priority should be to stop Sir Crocodile and his plans. It should not be Luffy and the pirates. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm really mad about. It's not that he didn't tell her, because he did clearly tell her the situation. My beef is that he gave her the choice of going either after Luffy or the army, or the royal, or deal with the royal army and stop Crocodile. And I don't understand why. You know, you're the top dog. You could give her the order and say, your priority is to stop Sir Crocodile and his plans. Forget Luffy right now. We could deal with him later. That should be Smoker's, orders. That should be his statement. That should be what he's saying to Tashigi. Because what happens? Well, check out the panel down the lower left. She's like, we're going after the pirate straw hats. Like, that's not your priority. Sir Crocodile is gonna take over the freaking world or something. His plan is gonna take over this whole country and do crazy things with it. And Smoker knows this. It should not be a multiple choice question here. It should be a priority issue. Your priority should be to stop Crocodile, deal with Luffy later. That's the way it should be written. That's the logic that should be written. You don't attain the level of information and knowledge that Smoker got, having been captured by Crocodile and listening to that ridiculous Dr. Evil monologue, only to tell Tashigi you could choose between going after the pirate, going after Luffy and the gang, or assist the Royal Navy. That is not great leadership, and that is not a great way to depict leadership. Smoker should have said, Tashigi, that's the situation with Sir Crocodile. Your priority is to stop him. Forget Luffy and the pirates. Whatever it is they do, let them do it. Focus on stopping the whole Crocodile's plans. That should be what it should be written by an author, by a writer. It should not be this. It just made Smoker look like an idiot doing this, and made Tashigi look like an even bigger idiot by saying we're going after Luffy and prioritizing Luffy instead of prioritizing the warlord that is betraying the freaking Marines that he's supposed to be working for. Oh my gosh, man. You gotta... Oh man. This was... And again, I was liking this arc. I found it so interesting and fun. And then you have, on one hand, Sir Crocodile pulling a Dr. Evil, trying to let the water flow up and drown everybody instead of just shooting them, since they are all contained in the cage and can't do a dang thing, especially the devil fruit users, because the freaking cage is made out of sea metal. That's their number one weakness. And then you got this here. Saying, it's like, come on, Oda-san. You're doing good. You're doing good. You pulled off some cool arcs, and you weakened this arc with two sets of idiot balls here. The two sets of idiot balls. It's insane. It takes you out of the whole thing. And then on top of that, Chaka is right in his assumption that the king might be kidnapped, because he is kidnapped. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and fight the rebels. Let's go fight the rebels. Why? Send a message out to the rebels and explain something's going on here. That there's something big going on here. And say you're not going to engage in fight because the king is missing and something's wrong. No, let's all rally up the troops and go and fight. Let's not tell Koza that the king is disappeared and missing and something is wrong and we're not going to fight because we don't know what the situation. No. Let's just go ahead and fight. Like, come on. This is bad writing, man. This is bad writing. Like this is something that needed to be rewritten a little bit more. This needed some more rewriting. You know, a chance to step back. You know, assess everything that was written. Think critically of how the characters are behaving. Then rewrite the characters to line everything up to sound to come off logical and make a lot of sense. We could a whole chapter could have been cut off with that whole monologuing business that Sir Crocodile did. And the Marines could have looked a lot more, and Chaka and the Marines could have looked a lot more smarter. Koza, I would 100% understand, charging headlong on it because we got his backstory. He's sick and tired of the thing. He's not listening to reason. But the ones that are figuring out that there's something big going on should be the ones reasonable and should be the ones calling out to Koza to calm him down and be like, we gotta settle this down. While Baroque Works and Sir Crocodile are trying everything they can to make sure that Koza is so enraged and blinded by rage that he won't listen to anybody and would want to engage on the whole thing. But I don't know. I just feel like now, having gone 180 being 180 chapters in, Oda would have gotten a lot more focus. So I'm hoping that it's my hope that the next arcs will be fine. We find out that Miss All Sunday's name is Nico Robin. It's actually Nico Robin, excuse me. I don't know what that means, but she seems to know who the D's are. And I love this mystery with the whole thing. The letter D. It's like you as one of those whose name is D. So she knows something about the D family. Gold D Roger, Monkey D Luffy, Ace D, Monkey D Ace. All the D's, man. That's pretty cool. All these nuts. Low hanging fruit. Thank you. She helped him out. She got him out of the desert trap because she was very curious. But ultimately, Pell survived her attack and everything because apparently she's got her own motives and she's not interested in killing people. And hopped on this awesome rocking creature called the Acceligator. Ingenious wildlife. The wildlife is just so ingenious. I really like it. I love the creativeness of the wildlife, which is what this whole entire chapter is about. The wildlife. Oh yes, and Shonen's got a Shonen. Iguropoi survived somehow, and he looks perfectly fine. So annoying, so freaking annoying. Always annoying. Shonen's got a Shonen. And my man here, my man Toto, like calling out the sandstorm. He's like ready to fight the sandstorm. So now everything is just, I guess I don't know. I feel like it's starting to get filler, like at this point. Because I understand you want to get to you want to get from point A to point B, and you want to show how they're getting from point A to point B, the race against time and everything. Fair enough, you know what I'm saying. But don't let it drag too long. And I'm very worried that it's gonna drag on too long. And quite possibly a hilarious moment. Nami just throws off her cloak and reveals her awesome rockin' outfit, and look how fast the crab just spun around. Keep in mind that he's been grinning the whole way just for running across the desert. Now he's even more happier, and gets the camel and Sanji to go crazy over her. So hilarious. Is it just me, or did she get even more slimmer and more rounder since we first met her? I don't know. Is it just me, or the artist really making her slimming her body to a toothpick here? Nothing wrong with that, but I just find that very weird that she's like experienced Lara Croft syndrome, where each subsequent game Lara Croft gets more well-rounded. Then the Kung Fu Jugons return, and Karu brings in the Sonic Duck Squadron. Somehow, all these animals, for some weird reason, all knew where the whole entire crew is at. That's I find that way hilarious. Karu brought the whole entire squadron. The Jugons over here on the top right. are towing the Kung Fu Jugons towing everybody across the 30-mile river. It's like one big coordinated effort with all the creatures. So hilarious. That was a good little moment of levity. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly when the fight starts to happen, it's gonna be very hectic. And I have a weird feeling that we're going to have that shonen style 1v1 fighting between Luffy and Luffy's crew and Baroque Works. And I'm hoping that it doesn't do that. I don't want to go 5 chapters each for each 1v1 fight, but I don't know. It seems like it's setting up for it because Miss Merry Christmas and Mr. Four said that they'll go first. I shouldn't even be saying that because I did that in The Impossible Man. 1v1 fighting. I did the whole 1v1 fighting thing, so I shouldn't even be one to talk. We all like 1v1 fights anyway. They always tend to end up with some epic moments. So, few weak chapters, a few weak moments, poor writing moments, but at least it moved along and didn't stall, and that's good. We didn't have any stalled moments. Everybody's just moving along nice and easy, so it's okay. It's okay. Just a few poorly written moments regarding Smoker and Tashigi, but overall it's good. We had a good fight between Crocodile and Luffy. We got some more mysterious moments regarding D family, and we got the setup, and we're still getting the setup because everybody is now arriving at the battlefield. So, all right. Well, we'll see what happens in the next set of chapters. So comment, like, subscribe, follow, you want to. And head on over to Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com and grab yourself a copy of The Impossible Man Strange Fantasy written by me. You can find the links to the book down in the description below. Grab yourself a copy and make yourself some nice, fun fan videos out of my novel. I look forward to seeing that. Along with links to other merch such as pins, stickers, t-shirts, and music. Enjoy the products. Thank you for your patronage. And if you're interested, you can join me on my live multi-stream on Twitch and Kick every Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to hanging out with you then. So until the next set of chapters, thank you all for joining me, and I wish you all a good night. Buenas noches, and oyasumi nasai.